the first night, the next morning, he actually wake me up calling the same tune, my name, same tune, and say, on the light. And he was sitting exactly like how Lama Konchog would sit. Then after that, he asked me, you go back to bed. You go back to bed. So I said, oh, can I bring you something? He said, bring a cup of warm water. Exactly the same. And that day was the most shocking experience that I had. That Lama Konchog is in this little body. I was Lama Konchog's attendant, and I have some responsibility about the life of Lama Konchog. But when he passed away, I have this confidence based on my faith, based on my own witnessing Lama Konchog's day-to-day life. I have no doubt that he is enlightened being. I also already start to feel the world is quite a complicated place. Reality is not comfortable. It's quite a complex world. And from my side, I used to think I won't able to handle if you come back as a reincarnation in the human form. Since I'm 100% confident you're enlightened, may you enjoy your enlightenment and benefit in many different other ways to bring the benefit. So actually, whether it's auspicious or inauspicious, I had that honest thinking based on the understanding of the complexity of the world today. But then when Lama Konchog was unwell and he was getting treatment in Singapore, so Lama Zopa Rinpoche visited him, and they were literally locked into the room for hours. And later I was told that actually by then already Rinpoche was kind of like strongly emphasizing that Lama Konchog should return if something happens. If he dies, he should come back. And even though when Lama Konchog, after 1 year later, he was passing away, and that time Lama Zopa Rinpoche was not in Kopan, but Lama Lhunduk Khenso Rinpoche was here. And directed by Lama Zopa Rinpoche and asked Lama Lhunduk, and from Lama Lhunduk's side also, really understand the value of Lama Konchog's existence, and the monasteries, the nunneries, and under the advice of Rinpoche, they all requesting him to return. But from my side, I still carry on the same idea. And of course, any Tibetan would do, and especially when the senior monks, they pass away, we would send a letter to His Holiness requesting his prayer, informing him such and such people pass away, and please pray for us. So from the first letter, we already received a reply that say that Lama Konchog will reincarnate. Then it become even more constructive that there should be a team to search for reincarnation, which is led by Geshe Lama Rinpoche and Lama Lhunduk. So I was part of the committee, so they are a team, and we were very much go and collect the informations, but we cannot contribute our emotion through the journey. So of course we met many people, many children, many people come and claim that maybe my child, maybe Lama Konchog's reincarnation. I had one lady from Singapore says that it's without doubt, Lama Konchog going to be born as my child. And I told her that first you go and find a boyfriend and engage and make baby and then see. And there's one lady from America, it says that I'm already pregnant, and I replied to Lama Lhunduk that how wonderful, if that's true, then it make our life so easy. But unfortunately, I heard that actually didn't manage to give birth. It's something, a miscarriage or whatever happened. Then there's one one boy came from Buddha and bringing up is already, I don't know, maybe like 7-8 years old, and say that we believe that this is Lama Konchog reincarnation. And there's one girl from one of European country, I can't remember exactly. Also is already, I think, few years, 4, 5, 6 years old. Already, and says we believe that she is Lama Konchog reincarnation, and say, well, that would be amazing. It's like we don't have to even do all the search; it's right here. And there's someone in Dharamsala is already a few years old. Even before Lama Konchog passed away. Again, like 6, 7 years old. I just heard that it already did someone investigation, and again didn't work it out. And there's one Tibetan family couple there who used to do business between Lhasa and Kathmandu. And this family always bring authentic samba from Lhasa, and always come and offer to Lama Konchog. And this couple came and said that without doubt, the Lama Konchog going to be born as our baby, because Lama Konchog likes our samba so much, and he been appreciating so much, and that itself is evidence that he's going to be born in our child. And say, oh, that would be so amazing, So we collect all this information, and also unfortunately, this couple was actually divorced later, and they didn't manage to make baby. There are many such instances, but in any way, Lama Konchog went into a clear light meditation. It seems like he may go on and on for maybe months, I don't know. But then there's an observation did by Rinpoche and says that, okay, we need to request Geshe-la to conclude the meditation. So on the 7th day, we did Guya Samaja Tantric root text recitation, which is usually regarded so effective to request. And really happened. Then during cremation, so much of relics. Even before finishing burning the body from the oven or the stupa hole, the relics are like a popcorn throwing out. Well, everybody, foreigners and the monks and nuns, even the little kids were enjoying, even though burning, human beings' body, but the relics coming out is like a popcorn, throwing out, and of course, based on Lama Rinpoche's advice, asked to seal the cremation stupa and seal for 3 days and burn for 3 days. And after that, there's so many relics, like a heart, tongue, and eye, which is in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, is one of the signs that you look for whether they have actualized the generation and completion stage of tantric path or not, etc., etc. There's so many relics. Then again, we inform through Geshe Lama Rinpoche, inform his Holiness. There's so much relics. So we even bring relics to present to his Holiness. Then we receive another letter. There's advice from his Holiness that the reincarnation is definite, and even show us the direction. And actually, that direction is where that during cremation, all the rainbow went through that direction. And traditionally, it's a long story. In the cremation dome, you create a very fine sand that cover with the metal plate, and on top of that, you make the stand, and where you put another plate where you put the body to burn. And the last, after clearing the cremation site, the last thing is you opened that plate, and where you usually look for a sign, and there you find that his footstep that went exactly the direction where the reincarnation came. And there's also a syllable of the father's name, which is also later there's an astrologer who was then in Taiwan and checked. Also in astrology came out very clear the syllable of the father's name. And even the entire picture, how the home of this the reincarnation was going to be born. And this astrologer never been to this place, never introduced to this place. So yeah, it took about 4 or 5 years, and Yeah, there's a movie called Unmistaken Child. Even that has a very, very interesting story. We never make movie about these things. I never have idea about these movie things, and there's one Israeli guy, Jewish guy, has a backpacker and came here, and I was giving a session in the November course, and at the end of the session he says, "Oh, you know, just now you said your master passed away. You're asking everyone to pray for the reincarnation." He said, "I don't believe in reincarnation, but I have a lot of interest in Tibetan culture, and I want to make movie." He said, "We don't make movie about that." He said, "No need." So he pursued me for 1 week, and he give up on me. He left, and he come back, and yeah, whole story came. So actually, he's the one that who saw the 100% of 4 over years of journey. Sometimes I forget from my side that he is same continuum of the old age master Lama Konchog into this little boy's body. Suddenly, even expression, even the word, even the face, even the gesture is almost like he possessed by Lama Konchog's spirit, and he will remind with exact how Lama Konchog used to behave. It's now and then, and I get shocked. But I still pretend to be like kind of big guy. You are a little kid. I say, I still need to kind of discipline you. I kind of like guide you. But I see absolute same, especially when he was a younger time, especially when he was, I think, age of 9, 10, 11. I was with him full time, just he and me, and really can see absolute one entity. I also see there's a lot of same interests. Just recently, once he moved to Sarah, uh, during the New Year holiday, he been conducting from his own interest retreats. By now he have completed Yamantaka retreats, Mondo retreats. In this age, it's very, very difficult that interest come from you, even you are reincarnated Lama. I cannot speak to others, but at least, like those of my generation, it's not easy. So he been performing those serious retreats, which Lama Konchog is one of the main interests in retreats. And if I go back to the first the year that he was recognized, just before he was ordained by His Holiness in Amarvati, that's the first day that I stay in one room, which was in the tent. And that day was the most shocking experience that I had. That Lama Konchog is in this little body. Lama Konchog used to wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, and he start his meditation. I have to get up without choice, and I have to offer a cup of warm water, which most of them he don't drink. But if I miss out, he would lecture me. And the first night, the next morning, he actually wake me up calling the same tune, my name, same tune, and say, "On the light." And he was just sitting exactly like how Lama Konchog would sit. Then after that, he asked me, "You go back to bed. You go back to bed." So I said, "Oh, can I bring you something?" He said, bring a cup of warm water." Exactly the same. And we stay about week to 10 days there every day, exactly the same. And I was, of course, watching quietly because he said, "Must go bed." So watching what he's doing, he's mumbling. Because by then he never memorized any prayers. It's just like first day of recognition as a reincarnation. And he's like doing prayers or something, and he sit until to the breakfast time, and which Lama Konchog used to do exactly. But then later, of course, when he was in Australia, he's not doing anymore like that. But there's so many other aspects. Yeah. But then the difference is when Lama Konchog was alive, he don't speak English at all. Maybe just like tea, hello, how are you? But Pozo Rinpoche is showing much interest in learning many languages. And of course, he shows so much interest in learning English, and his English is definitely better than mine. My English is zero, and he's learning maybe some other languages, which Lama Konchog used to say that how wonderful if I can speak English. He used to say that. So maybe he's just like gathering more tools to engage with the wider audience of today's time.